What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 video. Today we just got a whole bunch of news, updates, information. They pretty much dropped the entire Warzone 2 Season 1 roadmap, which outlined pretty much everything that's going to be happening. So we have a ton of information to go over here. What's going to be happening to Warzone 2, what you guys should expect, and also what's going to be happening to Warzone 1, because a lot of people are kind of left in the dark as what's going to be happening with that. But if you guys haven't enjoyed today's video at all, make sure you guys do me a favor, drop a like. Also subscribe, the notifications turned on so you don't miss out any of my future content. All right, so hopping in this here, I feel like the best place to start off is what's going to be happening with our current version of Warzone 1. We have, of course, Caldera, we have Rebirth Island, we have Fortune's Keep, which is the newest addition to the game. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. People are concerned with, are they gonna be able to play their maps? Are they gonna have their cosmetics? So on and so forth. What's really gonna be happening with Warzone 1? All right, so jumping to this here is speaking of just more or less the cosmetics and everything. So we have, of course, our battle passes, we have our skins, we have our operators, we have all that sort of stuff in here. There will not be a season battle pass going forward for Warzone 1. And that's just because everything is gonna be tailored towards Modern Warfare 2 / Warzone 2 and, of course, DMZ. You're not gonna lose out on any of your items you happen to have, but there's not really gonna be any more sort of like seasonal progression and everything on Warzone 1, because everything pretty much is just being tailored over to Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 based on that they wanted to do an entire fresh reset. So that's why none of your cosmetics, none of your COD points, pretty much none of that stuff, more or less, maybe besides the COD points, is going to transfer over to Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. It's an entire fresh reset, so there's no battle pass or anything else like that that's going to be here for Warzone 1. Also, this is a change here I'm not sure a lot of people are really going to be too happy about, is that Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep are actually going to be getting removed entirely from the game, and Warzone 1 will be just renamed to Warzone Caldera. They didn't really give a lot of reasons as to why they're just removing Fortune's Keep and Rebirth Island, but I can only assume that they're trying to get as many people over to MW2 and Warzone 2 as opposed to trying to keep them on Rebirth Island and Fortune's Keep, as those are kind of some more fan favorite maps. And I think Caldera is just going to be what they're okay with having people play, because Rebirth Island was a massive success here in the last year of Warzone, just because Caldera was pretty unplayable for people on console there for a long time. So a lot of people gravitated over to Rebirth Island, and of course the smaller maps like Fortune's Keep, as is probably more optimized for their systems, their consoles, and so they're trying to just pretty much take those out and say, hey, if you guys want to play Warzone 1 and use whatever you have, you can play Caldera, but no more Rebirth Island, no more Fortune's Keep. Also, I guess kind of stack on that a little bit for something that you guys may not be too happy with, is that Warzone 1 servers are going to go offline. But it's not like permanent or anything like that. It's kind of like how they did for some of the other title release updates, where they take something offline, they bring it back on here a little bit later, like how they removed a map in Warzone, then they bring it back like a week later just because they're trying to test something out. More or less, I'm talking about Fortune's Keep. You guys remember that Rebirth Island got taken out there for about a week or so. Then they slapped, of course, everything back in there. So what they're going to be doing here, just to get everybody over, of course, the new game, to be able to, hop on Warzone 2, since, of course, it's going to be free to play like Warzone 1. The servers are going to be going offline on November 16th at 8 a.m. November 16th is also the release date for Warzone 2. However, the servers will indeed come back on here on November 28th. So you guys have roughly about just a week and a half or something like that in order to be able to not play Warzone 1. So if you guys really hate, Warzone 2 or something for whatever reason, on November 28th, the servers will be back online. But keep in mind, there's no Fortune's Keep and there's no Rebirth Island. It's only Warzone Caldera. They also said that we should expect some small developments and everything here for Warzone 1 kind of going forward, but that's more or less probably just gonna be bug fixes, some very minor updates. I don't really expect them to be throwing in a whole bunch of different bundles, cosmetics, everything like that. I feel like a lot of the different design teams, everything are going to be ported over, or are just going to be entirely focused on the new Call of Duty, because obviously there's no cosmetics, there's nothing else like that in this game right now. Actually, you can kind of see it in the main menu if you go through to the private match. That's kind of been a glitch right now, so you can see all the bundles that are kind of in the game but not really in the game. But I just can't imagine there's going to be too many massive updates here for Warzone 1. And I guess to kind of round out here some of the bad news for Warzone 1 over to Warzone 2 is that more or less your XP tokens and stuff like that are not going to be transferable, unfortunately. Personally, that's something I'd love to be able to see, considering I have a lot of double weapon XP tokens on Warzone 1, Modern Warfare, Cold War, etc. So I love for those things to be useful as I'm trying to rank up all my guns here, but I guess that's not really going to be the case. Maybe they'll do that at a future point in time. I'm not exactly sure, but they also did happen to give everybody that has the $100 or the Vault Edition of MW2 like 10 hours worth of double XP or double weapon XP tokens. So that should have been on your account. You guys should probably go check your XP tokens right there if you have not hopped on here within the last day or so, as that's when that got added. Now moving on to some Warzone 2. We just had the Warzone 2 Season 1 update map map, just pretty much the roadmap come out. And they've just showed us a whole bunch of stuff. So let's at least get into it here and tell you all what's going to be happening here within Warzone 2. So we can see in the top right here, or the top left, my bad, Warzone 2, we have the new map Al Mazrah. Of course, that's what we're going to be dropping into. That's also more or less the same sort of general area that the DMZ mode's going to be taking place in. I think the DMZ mode, well, they haven't outlined a whole ton of information on that yet, and it's actually going to getting live revealed here as the time I'm making this video. They are playing more or less on some ground war maps, and of course I think it's going to be a little bit Al Mazrah, but personally I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to be touching DMZ. Bit more of an interesting thing. I'll have to see more as information comes out, but I'll definitely 100% of course be playing Warzone 2 here on Al Mazrah. For those guys that aren't really familiar with, there's the new gulag and everything that's going to be in the game. The gulag is something that we saw a little bit get featured earlier. You don't actually technically have to win to be able to get out of the gulag. You just have to maybe find a key or something like that, and it's also like a 2v2 where you get paired up with an enemy. It's a little bit interesting in that regard. We also have the heavy chopper here, and the Hummer EV is for our vehicles. And then for some new game feature, so we have of course the aquatic combat, circle collapse, which pretty much will split up the circles, so you could potentially have a game where there's 3 different storm circles. Not exactly sure how that's going to function. We have proximity chat, which is going to be kind of crazy. I think that's gonna be a little bit funny. Not sure how that's gonna work though. It's gonna probably be full of TOS moments, which we love that. Of course, there's new buy stations, the third-person playlist, which I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna work for Warzone. I don't think that's gonna necessarily be a Warzone thing, but it's actually under the Warzone category, so I don't really know. And there's also the interrogation thing where you can actually interrogate people in their squad if you happen to take them down to be able to find out the intel of where the rest of their squad mates are. We can keep this very brief here since we're talking specifically about Warzone 2, but for at least for Modern Warfare 2, we have Shoot House, which is making its return here as a bit of a revamped image. We have Shipment, which is also coming back, but it's also actually going to be on a ship this time, which is kind of cool. Both of these are massively fan favorite maps, so we gotta love that. We have Raid, which is a new in-season mode, a co-op mission there, and then you guys like CDL. If any of you guys like competitive Call of Duty, there's gonna be that along with some CDL skins, everything, CDL rewards, all the above. Now on the right side of the roadmap here, we have the new battle pass system, which we'll cover here in more in depth in just a second. A new operator Zeus, along with a couple new weapons here, the BASP SMG, which I'm 99% sure was in the beta, though we just don't really have a chance to really access now. And we also have the Victus XMR SM Sniper, which is pretty cool. And then also we do happen to have more stuff that's gonna be a little bit down here. We have the Modern Warfare FC event, which is more or less we have some soccer or football superstars, aka Messi, Paul, Pogba, and Neymar Jr., which are actually going to be their own operators in game, which is going to be really sick. And then we also happen to have down here in the weapons, operators, and more tab, we have more weapons, which is the M13B, so a fan favorite M13 coming back. We also have the Chimera AR, which is more or less the Honey Badger that we were all expecting to see in the full release of the game. I guess they were just happen to be in the game a little bit too early. There's of course going to be some new bundles. We happen to have the Class Operator, and then of course Sergeant Gaz is making his return as an operator in the game. And then to round out this video here, like I said, we're going to be talking a little bit more in depth about the battle pass. Is that something that does need to be explained, because they said there's going to be a new battle pass system. As you guys are aware that here for the last few years in Call of Duty, we've had a simple battle pass system where you happen to go ahead. Every new season, there is a battle pass with 100 tiers, maybe just like a couple items at tier 100. Pretty cool skins, pretty cool cosmetics, all that really like awesome stuff that's really there. But they're switching it up here for Modern Warfare 2 / Warzone 2, and it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how it works, because we have this information here, so I'm not entirely sure if we're going to be able to get all these cosmetics, but I'll at least tell you guys everything you need to know so you can make a judgment for yourself. So some official language from them. It says, instead of a linear system of tiers set out in a scrolling row along the bottom of your screen, your battle pass takes the form of a multi-sector map. And I'll of course throw that image and everything on screen for you guys to kind of get that concept and understanding of it. But it says, as you travel across the map, you'll earn battle token tier skips, which will be able to unlock these items that you wish to claim. Each map has 20 sectors with 5 items in each sector. Tokens can be used to either unlock adjacent sectors or earn more items within an unlocked category. So at least the way they explain this, kind of much like how they explain the way the weapon tuning system works, kind of comes off initially as a bit confusing. I assume that when we happen to get our hands on Season 1, it's going to make so much more sense when you can see it in front of your eyes and be able to understand exactly what's happening here with the system. But more or less, it says there's 20 sectors with 5 items in each sector. That equates out to, of course, 100 items here once again. So we do happen to have 100 items. That's going to be pretty much, probably I assume, standard here for more seasons going through. But the part at least that personally confused me a little bit is that it says you have to use the tokens to unlock an adjacent sector, or to use the tokens to unlock more items within that sector. So I don't exactly know if that means that you just get to pick and choose between, which items you want to unlock when and where, or if you happen to just not be able to get every single item that's going to be in the battle pass, which I can't exactly imagine that's the case. So personally, what I'm thinking is is that they're more or less going to let you guys decide what you want to be able to unlock personally, instead of just going through tier 1 to 100 and not having any sort of like more or less choice in how you unlock stuff or how fast you unlock stuff. The weapons are probably just going to be the same thing. They're going to be free or very early on within this sort of like, you know, tier or sector system. But I can't imagine that the rest of cosmetics are more or less going to be up to you guys. And like, hey, do I want this skin that's a little bit farther down in the sector? Do I not want to have to wait to, you know, maybe previously like tier 90 to be able to get a pretty cool skin? Whereas I could choose to use my tokens to unlock that a little bit faster, as opposed to unlocking the rest of the other shenanigans, these cosmetics, these charms, whatever, that I don't really care about. So that's what I got for you guys here on Warzone 2 Season 1. This should be everything you guys need to know about the game coming out here, what's going to be in it. This is going to be a lot of information, a lot of content. If you guys want to see more update videos like this, make sure you guys do me a favor, give it a like, subscribe, notifications turn on, and I'll see you guys all later. Just shout out Triple Cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.